The economy and higher education, two aspects of American life that seem to be at the top of President Trump's agenda. There are also two subjects that Lawrence Summers, former U.S. Treasury Secretary under Bill Clinton, and the former president of Harvard, knows very well indeed. He talks with our Robert Costa.
On campus, spring is often a sunny time. Finals are finished and commencement festivities begin.
Education is a right. That is why we have to fight.
But at some schools, there is now crisis.
We are here today to mobilize.
President Donald Trump is ramping up an extraordinary pressure campaign on higher education, especially on universities he has vilified.
It is clear to see the next chapter of the American story will not be written by the Harvard Crimson. It will be written by you, the Crimson Tide.
A lot is on the line. Billions in research funds, the status of foreign students, the future of admissions, and academic freedom.
Universities are on notice. The clearest example that we're all familiar with, of course, being Harvard, which is engaged in repeat, systemic, and sustained violations.
Harvard University, which has had more than $2 billion in grants frozen, is fighting back.
And I want to applaud Harvard University for having the guts to stand up to them.
I'm very proud of the university that I once led and still teach.
Former Harvard president Lawrence Summers sees a confrontation over American values.
If Harvard, America's richest university, America's university that had produced the most presidents, if Harvard couldn't stand up, nobody else could.
What's President Trump's endgame with Harvard?
I think his endgame is to try to get the university to bend the knee.
To correct what it sees as a progressive takeover, the administration has issued a flurry of demands on diversity policies and on how anti-Semitism is handled.
Free, free, free Palestine!
A concern sparked by the protests following the Hamas attack on Israel.
If we don't get no justice, then they won't get no peace.
Summers says it's fair to criticize Harvard.
Harvard's had a big problem with anti-Semitism. It's had a big problem with too many progressives relative to the number of conservatives. It's had a big problem of paying too much attention to identity politics.
But Summers says Trump is not trying to reform Harvard in good faith. He says the president wants to break it.
The laws say you have to have hearings. The laws say you have to give notice. The laws don't say you can engage in extortion. And when you simply cut off all funding based on a set of conditions, that's extortion.
What do you say to an American who didn't go to the Ivy League and they think Harvard's a little biased toward the left? Why should they care about President Trump exerting pressure on major universities?
I would say they're right to worry about Harvard being a little tilted to the left. But I would also tell them that if we cut off funding for cancer research, cancer cures are going to come more slowly.
President Trump continues to take aim at Harvard University. He says he will revoke the school's tax-exempt status.
On Friday, President Trump escalated his fight, writing on Truth Social, "We are going to be taking away Harvard's tax-exempt status. It's what they deserve." That, on top of the held-up funds, could put Harvard's finances at risk. Responding to Summers, a White House spokesman told Sunday Morning, the real threat to higher education comes when places like Harvard let their students' civil rights get trampled. President Trump is standing up for every student denied an education or safe campus because left-wing universities fail to protect their civil rights. Summers has been a force for decades, Treasury Secretary in the Clinton administration, then a Harvard president who was portrayed on the silver screen.
I don't see this as a university issue.
Of course this is a university issue. There's a code of ethics and an honor code, and he violated them
You
both.
enter into a code of ethics with the university, not with each other.
His parents were both university professors, and he became a tenured Harvard professor at age 28.
Is this reckoning for American universities personal for you?
I've spent my life in universities, and universities are the source of so many of the ideas that shape society. So, gosh, I think of universities as the place I've wanted to spend my life.
Summers is also keeping close watch on the economy as Trump issues sweeping tariffs.
What are they saying in the boardrooms across America right now about President Trump's economic policy? What's the real talk?
I think there's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of slightly stunned head shaking. I think there's still hope that this will all be a bad dream from which they can wake up.
Over the years, Summers has had the ears of both President Obama and Biden.
I was talking to Larry Summers this morning, and there's nothing inevitable about a recession.
But he doesn't have President Trump's ear.
If you had a moment with President Trump to talk about the economy, what would you say?
I would plead with him to set a course that he believes he can stick to, so we don't have a kind of generalized paralysis waiting on his next press conference that tips the economy into recession.
Lawrence Summers says whether it's Wall Street or the Ivy League, it's time to brace for turbulence.
So we're in the calm before the storm, in your view?
If this is calm, I don't know that I want to see what a storm looks like.